Ambassador Abercrombie Winstanley, the President's executive order, I think it's 13985, it provides a list of underserved communities, and it mandates that executive agencies seek to promote equitable, fair, and impartial outcomes for those communities. And I too believe not only is diversity our strength as a country, but if in fact our workforce does not reflect our population, then it merits a inquiry into what are the impediments. Are there any artificial impediments that are leading to that outcome? In the list of the underserved communities are groups that have historically faced discrimination in this country on the basis of their race, their religion, their gender. But it also includes a list of other groups. First-generation college students, which I happen to be, people with limited English speaking ability, immigrants, the elderly, former convicts, people from rural areas, military spouses, single parents, all good groups. I'm just curious, if we include all the people that have been discriminated against historically, plus all of these other groups, who is not an underserved community?
Thank you for your question, Senator. I can tell you that my office looks at this two ways. A, that our responsibility is focused on those groups who have been historically underrepresented in the Department of State, who are protected classes. And so that is a more narrow list of people, the first group that you mentioned. The reality is, as we work to remove barriers to those groups, we are in fact leveling the playing field for every group. We're focused on making merit-based decisions, so removing those artificial barriers. So when we do things like ensure that people can interview for the Department of State via a virtual technique, while it might indeed help groups that are in the center of the country or from families that can't afford a $1,000 plane ticket to fly to San Francisco or Washington, D.C., it's also going to touch on other groups of people who also have that problem. So in that way, we are able to hit that wide variety of groups.
I understand, but I mean, when you add to and I know you didn't write the executive order, but what I'm saying is that when underserved communities expands to includes, all these other groups, which are all, I mean, there's nothing. I understand the struggles or the challenges of each of these groups individually. It just seems like we've really narrowed the pool of people who we do not consider underserved to a very narrow category of people, which obviously begs the question, what information, do we keep a list of, for example, the religious affiliations of all the employees? Do we keep a list of everybody's ethnicity?
Yeah. We collect limited information on demographic information, and we have a number of employee organizations that group around many of these other characteristics that you've mentioned, whether it be singles at state, working parents at state, veterans. None of those are protected classes per se, but they do have issues that employees talk about, work with our HR, our global talent management, to ensure that they have a level playing field and the ability to serve to the best of their ability when they're in the department.
I guess my point is, I don't know how we can possibly make these efforts to help these groups, broad array of individual groups that have been defined as underserved, without collecting information about all of these topics. Are they the first to go to college in their family? What's their religion? What's their race? What do they speak English? Are they immigrants? I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make. We're collecting a lot of information. My time is short. I did want to ask you, I'm curious how U.S. interests were advanced by promoting a film festival in Portugal that highlighted Minban, which is a film about a 17-year-old boy who has sexual relations with an adult bartender, and Saint Narcisse, which I think is how you pronounce it, which is a film about incestuous twins. How would promoting, which was part of some sort of drag queen film festival in Portugal, how does that advance our national interest, and how much taxpayer money was spent putting on this film festival?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I will take it back to get an answer for you. I do not know.
You're not familiar with this?
I am not familiar.
So you don't know how much we spend or how many State Department employees work. You're just not familiar with the topic.
I'm not familiar with those films or that festival. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Do you handle festivals as part of your portfolio?
I do not.
Okay. Senator.
Well, does she handle? No, Mr. Chairman. That's not the point. The point is it's part of the diversity.
The point is, I
and
just want to
equity.
clarify for the record that she does not handle festivals. It's a legitimate question, and I look forward for her to get back.
She handles
and answer.
diversity and equity issues, which was part of a diversity and equity initiative.
But that initiative isn't necessarily one that is diversity and equity. It may have been
It
part
actually
of
was
the State
advertised
Department's
as such,
program.
Mr. Chairman. It was advertised as such.
Okay.